I did. Thank you. Eric, you're free to proceed.
Just waiting for 11 o'clock. Thank you. 11 o'clock. This is, excuse me, this is Chairman Eric Wargotz, a Commissioner of the Parks and Shade Tree Commission, calling the virtual meeting of this commission to order on June 22nd, 2020 at 11 a.m. And roll call is Commissioner Maldiz present.
Yes.
Commissioner Kesmodel.
Present.
Commissioner Macha.
Present.
Solicitor, City Solicitor Glenn Mendelis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm here.
Yeah, and I assume welcome City Arborist Elizabeth Lingo, appellants, and all other guests who are joining us. Anne, have all the proper notices been posted and individuals notified according to law?
They have.
Thank you very much. Do we have any correspondence this morning?
There is none.
Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes? And if so, is there a motion to accept as written, or if there are edits, please move so.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
And no discussion, I assume all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Any old business, Ms. Womack? Or
No, there is
commission
none.
members?
There is none.
Very, very good. Well, let's move to new business. The way I'd like to handle this, since this is our first virtual meeting, and I can't see anybody, I'm limited in terms of bandwidth where I am, so I'm purely by phone. So hold on a second, please. Yes, I'm back. The what I'd like to do is ask the appellant to state their case essentially, followed by the city arborist giving her report, and then ask if there's any members from the public online who would like to make any comments. This is not a question and answer period, by the way, for those public members. This is a comment period where you testify to your comments. You make comments, you don't ask questions. If you choose to ask questions, we may take them and consider them in our own discussion as the commission today, but we will not respond directly to you. It is a public comment, public testimony opportunity. And then after everyone, after the appellant and the city arborist and the public offer their comments, then we, the commissioners, will discuss and ask questions and discuss, and perhaps entertain a motion today. Is that okay with everybody?
Fine.
Very good. Very good. Okay, well, why don't, is Ms. Murray and Ms. Crivelli, the appellants, present, or the representative?
We're here.
Would you like to begin? And just let us know when you're finished, since we can't see you or read your faces.
Sure, not a problem.
Chairman, just for you know, we are able to see them, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, okay. Well, someone just they'll let me know when they'll let us know when they're done.
Sure.
Right? When they've concluded.
Okay.
Thanks for letting us participate in this process. 405 Stockley was a heavily wooded, overgrown lot left in its natural element that the city approved to be subdivided for the construction of a new home, which upon being built will be our full-time residence. As a result, the purpose of this lot has changed. We're asking for our application to be approved, allowing removal of the trees in the right-of-way. Within the right-of-way, these trees have overgrown into the power lines, have been severed by power cables, and Some are less than 30 feet from the corner. These trees seem to be in violation of codes 253, 11, 10, and 8. And in addition, they will block our front walk and grow into our front porch and windows. Along with the removal of the trees, we would like permission to take on the responsibility of beautifying the right-of-way to complement our new home. By creating a landscape with sod, colorful plants, and shrubbery, we can make this corner spectacular. We believe this improvement will increase the safety for us, our neighbors, and the Rehoboth Elementary community. We have a question with the whole COVID thing that's gone on. Basically, has anyone visited the lot? I know Liz has been there.
I have.
I have to.
Okay. 'Cause
we
we-
did-
Eric Wargotts, I have.
Yeah, because
as
we did
well.
take some photos, so we could kind of show you, if necessary, our concerns with most of the trees that were planted that can grow to be, 50, 80 feet tall, which really are going to be challenging right underneath the power lines and right in front of our house.
It seems a majority of the commissioners have visited the site, so you can be assured that we've seen it up close.
Do we, just so we understand, when this is done, we have a couple of just general questions. We're not sure of the process. Do we hold those to the end?
No, during your testimony, you can certainly ask your questions, yes.
Okay. So we have, if it's feasible or if it's appropriate, because we've never been through this process before, we have some kind of notes or our feelings on the justifications besides the code that we looked up in regards to trees under power lines for the city, on why each tree we think is important to be removed. If that
Before you go into each of those, can I ask, you did reference two code sections, 250-, there's another one that I didn't catch.
253, 11, 10, and 8.
Thank you.
Yeah, and they all talk about, because we know that's something that would be important in this discussion about the appropriate size of the trees under the power lines, and how you're not looking to put trees in that are going to grow 50 to 80 feet tall, which is what all these trees will grow, which is why they're already entangled in the power lines.
I mean, we have a huge,
And also the fact about being close to the corner, because we've got stop signs, we've got the school buses coming out of the elementary school there.
Well, if I may, this is Eric Wargotts again. I think that if you move forward with your testimony without the questions, the very fact that you filed the application to remove these trees obviously indicates your serious concern about these things. We appreciate you expressing them here today as well, these concerns. We're also, those of us who have visited and those of us who have seen pictures or through Google Maps or whatever, also can see what you see. There particularly are not hard, fast rules about the trees in terms of whether they grow to 50 feet or 20 feet in this situation with power lines above. Delmarva or is responsible for clearing limbs around their lines, so they'll clear limbs, around lines, no matter what size the tree. So what I would encourage you to do is that we understand your concerns. We'll see towards the latter part of the meeting if where the commission discussion falls and if we agree with you or not as a majority. But I understand the anxiety and the concern about you want what you want. That's why you're here today. But we do understand these things. All of us are homeowners in Rehoboth. We see this frequently, and we do understand it. So if you please proceed further with your testimony, that'd be great.
Right, and to your point, we do understand that Delmarva can untangle the trees, with being that the fact that the house is within 9 or 10 feet of these large trees, we have a huge concern about if we should have heavy winds, that it's going to, with the Delmarva trimming of the trees, it's going to weaken the tree and potentially damage our new home. And on the street side, because we have so many children and pedestrians that come through there, that it will weaken the branches, that they could potentially fall down.
We also have some trees in the front. Our home is only going to be 10 feet, basically, from where these trees are. And these trees grow much wider than 10 feet, like specifically that wild cherry, which has 3 huge limbs. That's going to grow basically into the front window and porch.
And we like to clear out the easement also, because not only is it got the vines, it also has wild oak, which is poisonous, growing through the front of it. Like I said, you know, I believe, but I don't know what the process is for the town, that we would like to clear out the area and then basically re-beautify it by extending the walkway, which the tree is going to block, to the front of my house, to the end of the street, and putting in sod and plants, and, you know, if necessary, you know, some small trees that might be a little bit more appropriate for the area. And I'm, you know, and I don't know what the policy is, but I'm assuming that we would cover the cost to do this tree clearing in this area.
It doesn't really look like much is.
Hang on. Because I said it was a policy.
It doesn't really look like much has been done on this corner. There's even a leftover parking meter post
Oh my.
in the ground. I'm not sure if I have to pay a quarter each time I enter my home if that's left there. I'm just saying.
Right.
Oh, there's stumps that have been left there. So we're all into making this corner beautiful and landscaping and doing what needs to be done. But the trees that are there now are too big with a home that will be 10 feet from it.
And we'd like to get rid of the stumps and the leftover, you know, meter pole and all of the other things, the vines and the wild poisonous oak, so it's not a hazard or a safety hazard to anybody else besides us in the community and around. I mean, it's partly to make it look nicer for Rehoboth.
We have some severed vines there that are probably a good 4 inches in diameter that were cut at the bottom, but are still hanging on into the tree. Whoever cut that, I don't know if Delmarva cut it, that's how we got it.
And they're probably about 10 feet.
Oh, they're very tall.
So if they fall off and they fall off on one piece, it could actually fall.
That's not
Right, so you,
pull off.
Yeah.
according to your permit, you want all that removed. We have that, ladies. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, we weren't quite sure because we saw that Liz's
Report.
highlights only covered portions of it, but on her diagram where it says stump, the 2 trees next to them, one is the one that has the wisteria, that is cut at the bottom and attached at the top, and literally looks like a 10-foot piece of dead wood that could fall off and hurt someone. And then the other tree next to it is actually growing out sideways across the street.
But
You know,
they're not highlighted on the
So we weren't quite sure.
on the site plan that she sent.
Right, so let me just jump in and give you some assurance.
Okay.
So if, regardless of whether this commission should decide to deny the appeal or allow some of it or allow all of it, I obviously have not conferred with my fellow commissioners, but I would expect at least one of us would suggest that a landscape plan be placed in effect in the public area by you, the homeowners, to replace what's there with something that's more attractive and would consist of plants and trees similar to streetscapes elsewhere in the city, and that includes native and non-native species. So you'd have considerable flexibility to work with the arborist on determining what goes in that area.
That's great.
That's clear.
We have no
Yeah.
problems
So
with
that,
the landscaping.
again, I can't speak to a motion like that passing, but I would suggest to you that will be certainly, I would think that'd be discussed. So,
Okay.
in a possibility.
And we just want to let you know that we are not opposed to that, because that is our plan anyway. So we have no problems submitting that to you and getting that ahead of time, even though we're just about to, start the foundation. So we have no issue.
Right. That would be worked out with the arborist. We don't micromanage the arborist. So,
Okay.
anything else, ladies?
Well, I guess my question to you, since we have not done this process before, even though we live in Rehoboth right now behind CVS, is there anything that you need that we're missing? Is there a question that we have not answered that's important to you? Is there
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's have the arborist. We'll hold on to that as a commission, and we'll listen to the arborist and then the public, and then any questions the commission has, we will direct to the appropriate party, which in that case would be you or the arborist. How's that?
That's great. We just want to make sure that we're answering the questions so we can help hopefully come to something that's going to work for everybody.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Lingo, would you like to present your findings?
All right. Oh, I need to start video. Nope.
This?
Yay. Okay. Sorry, my whole computer crashed, so IT had to reset everything. So I missed the last 3 minutes probably.
I think we're just looking for your report on this.
Your report, yes.
Gotcha. Okay, the following is the report of the city arborist with regard to the above reference request is to be heard before the commission on June 22nd, 2020. The applicant has submitted a request to remove street trees located on city right-of-way along School Lane and Stockley Street Extended. On the attached site plan, the highlighted trees proposed for removal are 6 1-inch sumacs, a 1-inch mulberry, 5-inch pear, 3-inch hickory, forsythia shrub, 41-inch wild cherry, 6-inch hackberry, 14-inch willow oak, and 4-inch hickory. Overall, the trees appear to be healthy and in good condition. The pear and mulberry are considered invasive species, while the other species are native. Also of note, the trees along School Lane have utility lines above them. As per City Code, Parks and Shade Tree Commission has authority to permit the removal of these trees. 253-12 maintenance. No person shall plant, spray, preserve, prune, remove, cut above ground, or otherwise disturb any tree on any street or municipal-owned property without first receiving permission from the Parks and Shade Tree Commission. Any tree removed from municipal-owned property must be replaced unless otherwise authorized by the Parks and Shade Tree Commission.
Thank you. Is that the end of your report?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, a little record keeping here. Glenn, tell me if I'm wrong, but I didn't read into the new business, the formal statement. So I want to go back and do that, if that's okay. Under new business, so let me read into that.
Thanks.
Correct, Glenn? That was not read.
That's correct.
Okay. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct an administrative appeal hearing pursuant to the Comprehensive Tree Ordinance, Chapter 253 of the Municipal Code of the City of Rehoboth Beach. Case number 1, of which we have already heard the appellant provide testimony, and the report of the city arborist, has been requested by Angela Murray and Theresa Crivelli, owners of the property located at 405 Stockley Street Extended, pursuant to Section 253-12C of the Municipal Code of the City of Rehoboth Beach, and pertains to the removal of 13 trees and 1 shrub located in the city right-of-way along School Lane and Stockley Street Extended, period. Thank you. Commissioners, I'd like to do this sort of roll call in terms of asking if you have any questions or comments, not motions at this point, not asking for motions, but just so that we can stay organized and efficient. So let me begin with you, Commissioner Maldace, do you have any comments or questions for either the appellants or the arborist?
Yes, for Liz, I'd like to know what is her valued opinion.
I'm sorry, is that for us?
Oh,
Liz,
I'm sorry.
What do you mean exactly?
well, a lot of these are nice trees.
Mm-hmm.
We have a big oak under wires.
Yep.
So we've got the hickory, the willow oak, a 14-inch willow oak. That's a nice tree.
Mhm.
Is it a nice tree, or is it damaged by vines growing on it, or should all these trees be removed?
So how we deal with street trees in the city that are pre-existing. So this doesn't include planting new ones. Because as they said, we would not be planting a wild cherry or a willow oak adjacent to power lines. But if they're there and they're in decent condition and they're not an invasive species like a pear or something like that, the city, like, so say on the second block of Newcastle, we have, it might not be Newcastle, but just go with the example. We have like 3 or 4 willow oaks, like 20-inch willow oaks in a row in a 3-foot right of way growing into power lines. So we either pay the money to remove them and have no trees, or we pay to prune them. And then also, of course, Delmarva Power contracts out their pruning we're on a 4-year rotation for the city of Rehoboth. So our maintenance has always been pruning over removal, unless it reaches a point where we have a public safety issue. So if it's so decayed or rotted or something of that nature. Pear trees, since they're invasive, are a little bit of an exception.
Anything else, Commissioner Maldace?
Should all these trees be taken down?
I mean, that's not really my decision. That's why it's in front of you guys. Like I said, if it was the city of Rehoboth, no. If it was just me and I was in charge of just maintaining this, I'd probably get rid of the mulberry and the pear, and there's one they didn't even mark down to be removed, that one of the support wires for the utility that goes down to anchor it in the ground had been rubbing against the trunk. I believe it was a flowering cherry. Those are probably the ones I would get rid of, but you know, this is why the requests come to you guys. You get to make the hard decisions.
I'd like to add that one of them is blocking our front walk, and yes, even though they may be healthy, which is the willow oak, each tree is literally 9 feet from our house, our windows, our front door, and our porch. And as we mentioned, we're willing to provide a landscaping plan that can have some trees replanted in that plan to help with your concerns, Marcia.
I mean, I'll jump in. I'm sorry,
Anything else, Marcia?
No, I'll hold it at that for now.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Kesmadel, do you have any questions for either party?
No, I think all of them should come down. It's just a total mess that's been neglected for years. I don't see anything worth, they've already chopped that willow oak they're talking about, looks great at the bottom, but they've already taken the top of it off. And they're just gonna come through and just butcher all those trees, because you know how the power company does. There's a tree on the other corner that they've just butchered the heck out of. So you know that's gonna happen. And then you're just gonna cause disease and rot. And these girls wanna come in and redo it and make it look good. I'm all for it.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner. Commissioner Macha, do you have any questions for the parties?
I don't have any questions, but I was going to make a comment. I absolutely agree. I mean, the lot does look like a mess. I could see obviously the building envelope and how close the trees are. The only thing I think would have been really helpful for this meeting also is to see the landscaping plan, so that we can actually just, you know, envision what else you would be doing. That's all. I'm in agreement that those trees should come down.
Okay. Well, very good. Are there any members of the public present who would like to make any comment? Seeing
There is no
none?
public.
Pardon me?
There is no public.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of interference.
So
What did
Two.
you say?
I'm hearing it too.
Oh, it's better.
Mr. Chairman,
Is
she
there
said
anyone from
no
the
member of
public
the
offered
I'd like to
public
comment.
testimony?
Chairman,
Go ahead, Dan.
there is no public.
Okay, thank you. So the hearing is now closed, and the commissioners will deliberate as to whether there is a motion being offered. May I ask the commissioners if there is a motion to be offered?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that they are be allowed to take it all down and submit, because of the wires, and submit a plan to Liz for the replanting of that area to be approved by her.
Is there a second?
I second that.
That's-
May I interrupt before you guys vote?
Well, no, we're going to discuss first.
Okay,
but yeah.
well, that's just not specific enough. I'll need a total number of trees or whatever you guys want to have planted. We need more specifics than that to go off of.
So it was seconded, but I'd like to offer a friendly amendment, Ned, to the motion, if that's okay.
Sure.
All right, so we'll take that motion, which has been seconded, and I would like to offer the following amendment, and we'll need a second on the amendment after I give it, if it's to be considered. The amendment is that that the appellant's request be granted in full, with the requirement that they work with the city arborist to plant 3 trees, native or non-native, because we certainly have non-native trees lining streets in Rehoboth City, such as cherries and things, so ornamental cherries. So native or non-native 3 trees, 2 along the extension, 1 along the schoolhouse, or the school lane, and that other suitable ground covering be decided upon by the appellants and the arborists. That's my motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion on the amendment? Okay, let's vote on the amendment to add it to the motion before we vote on the final motion. So all those, Rachel, what's on the amendment?
Aye.
Yes or no?
Yes for me.
Yes for me.
Yes for Ned,
Yes for
yes
Rachel.
for Rachel.
Yes.
Marcia?
Yes.
Okay, aye. So it's unanimous on the amendment. So now we have the final motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Is it unanimous that, do all commissioners agree with the motion?
Yes.
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 All right. Okay, the final motion passes. It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can we ask this,
Just one question.
no, 2 clarifying
Oh, 2.
questions.
Okay. Who removes the trees?
What's that?
Do we hire a contractor to do it, or do you have to send, I mean, we just don't know what that means.
We don't know that protocol.
Liz, can you answer in this situation, who pays for the tree removal?
A private contractor removes the trees if they're requested, like in this sort of scenario.
You mean our builder contractor, you mean?
Yeah, your builder or whoever, whatever tree company you guys used before is typically who does it.
Okay, and,
Does that include the parking meter?
yeah.
Just saying.
Stop. And so,
I
and then,
don't know.
she was just making a joke.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
No, I don't know, because the last time they didn't want to take things that weren't wood to be removed because of the concrete in the bottom, and some stuff gets, recycled.
yeah, so they really,
That we can, Ann can bring, Ann, if you would kindly bring the matter of the abandoned meter pole to the city's attention and have that dealt with. Thank you.
Okay.
I will.
Don't want to do anything that's not, we're trying to make sure we're doing everything correct. So, that's why we ask.
Okay, so I can
Sure,
go.
thank you, ladies.
The typical protocol is, I don't know, I guess it's up to the Park and Shade Tree Commission on whether or not this is approved prior to the submission of an approved planting plan. So typically, we have the approved planting plan. Since it's on city right of way, it has to go through a public works permit, and I can send you guys that permit. So it's reviewed by all of our public works department, including typically the police, the city manager, the public works director, and the fire chief to make sure there are no issues in parking. And
That's fine.
Yep. Once that's approved, you have everything stamped and ready to go. And that would include if you wanted sod or any of that stuff in the right of way.
Okay.
So it's all tracked and noted who did what and when.
Okay, got it. Okay.
But everyone, please note that this commission does not need to see that plan or approve that plan, okay? That's through the appellants and the homeowners, the arborist, and the other city utilities, okay?
Okay, got it.
It doesn't come to us for approval.
Okay, thank you. That was our question also. Okay.
Okay, very good. Is there any other, Ann or commissioners, is there any other business that we need to deal with? That includes also you, city solicitor. Anything else?
Not for me, Mr. Chairman.
Not for me.
I have no other business.
Thank you. So then that concludes our meeting of the Parks and Shade Tree Commission, our first virtual meeting. Thanks everyone for your patience and cooperation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.